Welcome, class. My name is Mr. Steed, and I'm going to be helping you learn about lesson 3.4, which is talking about similar triangles. So our learning target is I can use informal arguments to establish facts about the angle-angle criterion for similarity of triangles. We'll talk a little bit about what that's talking about as we go through this, but you'll know that you understand it if you can determine if two triangles are similar, and also use that to find missing sides of two similar triangles. So those are learning targets and success criteria. So let's look at this key idea for the lesson. So the idea is, okay, angles of similar triangles. It may seem like a very basic idea, but when two angles in one triangle are congruent to two angles in another triangle, the third angles are also congruent and the triangles are similar. So that means if all we knew were this 95-degree angle and this 65-degree angle in this smaller triangle and this 95-degree angle and this 65-degree angle in this larger triangle, we would know that these two triangles have to be similar because their third angle is also the same, because in a triangle, the sum has to add up to 180 for the interior angles. So the symbol they use for similarity is this little wavy sign like that. So this just means that triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. So this lesson is all about similar triangles, and you're going to learn about how the sides are in proportion to each other. So like if this is half the length of this side, then this side of the triangle is also half the length of this side, and so on. Something that I think you were exposed to in 7th grade a little bit as well. So let's look at a couple examples. Example number 1 says, tell whether the triangles are similar. So it's a yes or no question, but then you have to back it up with a little information. So it says, these two triangles have two pairs of congruent angles. Notice I have a 75 here, and I have a 75 here. And I have a 50 here and a 50 here. So that means the third angle of those two triangles has to be the same. It's whatever is left of the 180. So these two guys together is 125. So that would mean that this has to be 55. So that means all three angles are the same. Okay. So that would be a yes. These two triangles, they always try to make it a little bit tricky by rotating one of the triangles or something like that. But it's the same question. Are these two triangles similar? Well, they both have a 63-degree angle. And this one has a 54 and a 63. So what we need to do is find one of these other missing angles in these triangles. So what they did is they wrote out an equation to find x in this first triangle. So we know x plus 54 plus 63 has to equal 180. So we solve that and we figure out that this angle has to be 63 degrees. So now we know that there are two pairs of congruent angles. I have a 63 and a 63, and I have a 63 and a 63. So if I have two pairs of angles that are equal or congruent from one triangle to another, those triangles have to be similar, because this angle is going to end up being 54, because it has to be, because that's the only thing it could be in order to add up to 180. So the third angles are congruent and the triangles are similar. Okay, so let's look at one where you're going to see something where that isn't similar. So these triangles look similar. This side looks like it might be a bit too long to be similar to this, but we don't really know by just looking at the pictures. We need to look at the angles. So they have one pair of equal angles, those two 90s. Okay, these aren't equal, but we need to find one of these other missing ones to see if the triangles are similar. So they're going to find x. So they do 90 plus 42 equals 180, like we've been doing since the beginning of the year. And we figure out that x has to be 48 degrees. So we fill that in our picture. That has to be 48 degrees. Now, when we look at this, now I have a 90 and a 42, and a 90 and a 48. Well, if this is a 90 and a 38, 38 is not either of these angles, okay? So they cannot be similar because they don't have two angles that are congruent. They only have one pair of angles, okay? We could go ahead and find this other angle if we wanted to. We would just do 90 plus 38 plus x equals 180, and we could solve that, and we'd figure out that it's not going to be 48 or 42, okay? Or this would be y, I guess, sorry. But we don't have to solve this in order to prove it, because we can see that there are only one set of angles that are equal, okay? So we're gonna stop right there for now.